Okay, so let me very quickly show you this step-by-step process of this painting right here. So the first layer is this line art layer, and it's a little too detailed. I did not need to have this much detail on my line art because in the end, most of it is going to be covered by paint. So I definitely did not need this much detail because it's also quite a waste of time. If line art is important for you, then go ahead, create as much detail as you want. But for me, line art is not important, and I definitely did not need this much detail. So the first painting layer is the background layer. And as I have said before in my videos, paint your background first, or at least establish the values and colors of your background first, because it will allow you to decide the colors and values of your subject better. Even if your painting does not have a detailed background, at least go for a background that is not completely white. Because on a white background, you won't be able to judge your values correctly, because white is the brightest you can go. So any lighting will feel a little weak in comparison to the background. So go for a background that is not white. Okay, so the next layers are these flat layers. So what I did is selected my subject using the lasso tool and I filled it with a flat color. For now, I'm trying to keep different elements of the painting on different layers. Like the background is on its own separate layer, the character is on its own separate layer, and the surfboard is on its own separate layer. And then I'll paint the clothing on top. Clothing is also on its own separate layer, and then hair is also on its own separate layer. I do this for the sake of convenience. I will be painting the lighting on all of these separately because like I said, it's just more convenient that way. And once I'm satisfied with the lighting, then I might merge all the layers together and then create details on top of it. So the next layers are the lighting layer. So I will choose one of the elements like the skin. I'll create a layer on top of it and then clip it to that skin layer. And then I will create lighting on it. Now this is the main light that is coming from the sun. And then there's this bounce light, this yellow bounce light that the sun hits the ground and then bounces the light on the surfaces that is facing the ground. And you will see this yellow lighting on her arms and her face. Then I will do the same for clothing. I will create the lighting that is coming from the sun and the bounce light. And then comes the layers for the shadows. So this is the shadow for the skin. Now you might ask why the shadow looks like this. Why does it look a little blue? Well, because she is standing in an open space and there's clear sky above her. And an ambient lighting on the sky is hitting the surfaces that is pointing upwards towards the sky. And that's why the surfaces that are facing the sky looks a little blue. Shadows naturally go towards red. So if there were no ambient lighting, you would see shadows that were going towards the red. You can also see on her face, these are the ambient lighting coming from the sky and hitting her face. So on the lighting, you see two things, right? So there's this warm light from the bottom and cool light from above. So this is a warm versus cool lighting scenario. And then I add shadows on her clothing and I'm trying to add some colors here. Now these pink colors might not make sense, but it's a painting. The colors or anything here does not have to make sense. It only needs to look good. And I'm trying to do this because I'm trying to replicate the style of artists like Marco Bucci and Harry 17. You know, they have a lot of colors in their painting and I'm trying to go for a similar style with colors. And for now, I haven't been very successful with it because I don't understand it. But one thing that I have realized is that you learn these colors by experimenting. You know, you apply these colors, it doesn't work. You apply more colors, they don't work. And you keep experimenting until something clicks, something just works. And that's how you develop these colorful styles that you might have seen a lot of artists have. You know, the style where you see a lot of colors in their painting, colors that don't really make sense. Like, why are they there? But still, they look good. And that's the kind of style that I'm trying to go for. Then I will add more details to the board, the shadows and lighting and the color shift. And now that I'm satisfied with all the colors and the lighting, I will reduce the opacity of the line art and merge the layers together. And this is the merge layer. And I have added some details here, some colors on the board, some greens. Now greens does not make sense. Why is there green light on her shirt, on her legs, on her board? It doesn't make sense and it doesn't have to make sense. It only needs to look good. Now what these colors also do is they harmonize the whole painting. Like these greens. You see these greens almost everywhere on the subject. You see it on her legs, on her clothes, on her arm, on the surfboard. And that green harmonizes all the colors together. And that's kind of how color theory works. But you don't need color theory to understand all this. It's art. The most important thing is your feeling. If you feel that it's right, then it's right. Okay, so after that, I will add some details on the background. Now the lighting and the values were already established, so the details does not really affect the whole painting much. And then on top of that background, I will add a blur. This is like a lens blur where the things that are out of focus will get blurry while the things that are in focus will stay sharp. It brings the attention towards the things that are important on the painting. Then I will add some darker shadows, like on these part here. You can call these occlusion shadows. These are the areas where light does not reach, so they are kind of dark. Then I will merge it all down on this merge layer and blend everything together. Not everything together, but blend the edges that needs blending. Then more details on another layer, and then I will merge everything together again and then paint all the details on the face. Then I will create another layer and paint the details of the hair. And as you can see, the moment I want to paint more details, I first create another layer and then put details on that layer because, it's more convenient that way. And I will merge everything again to a new layer and paint even more details on the clothing, on hair, on the face, and just keep adding things. Like the painting is literally done. All you need to do now is add details, and how much detail you want to add literally depends on you. And on the next layer, I am adding this bloom effect. This bloom effect is basically when light hits a surface, it bounces off and there are dust particles floating around. So the light kind of bounces off every dust particle and you can see it in the air, all these dust particles small, and that creates this bloom effect. Then on another layer, I will make certain things brighter, then create another layer where I make certain things darker. And then again, I will merge everything together and work a little more on the details. And on top of that, I will create this color balance layer and shift the shadows, shift the whole painting towards a little more cooler side, because I thought the painting looked a little too warm and I wanted the shadows to feel cool. And this is my layer by layer approach to painting. So yeah, that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Goodbye.